check, mic check, mic check. Can you hear me, bro?
Yes, sir.
All right. That's great. Gonna get started. On that chart talk. You know what it is.
Boy, we on a roll now. Episode 37.
37. We getting at it, man. We getting at it not like a crack addict. I mean, but still, we getting at it. All right, so you know what it is, guys. Today is Monday market moves. Today is where we're looking for setups that we're going to be potentially looking at for the next 2 to 3 days in the market. You know, yesterday, P broke it down with the top-down analysis for the weekly analysis, and that was basically spot on as per usual. So today I'm going to be going over what I am looking at in the markets, and then P will be giving his. First of all, hold on. P will be giving his opinion, but let me get that muted because I can hear myself in the background, and I'm like, nah, I don't want that. And let me actually just mute my whole thing over here. My bad, guys. All right, so yeah, got everything set up. Before I want to get started, what did you think about the market's movements today? P, because
very reactive off of that big bullish move. You know, pretty quick reaction right there.
Quick turnaround on that. Right?
Yeah, it did turn around off that 4-hour 3-wave divergence that I like. But at this point, you know, it didn't engulf it, but it is starting to look like it should correct a little lower.
Yeah.
But it isn't enough at the same time. So, you know, tomorrow it could just break that high again and keep going.
Yeah.
I'm not in love with how the markets look right now, but there's some place.
Yeah, no, definitely. I definitely do agree. This is what I was seeing earlier today with the. I didn't even see it earlier. I just saw as I was in trades, and I was like, oh, the dollar did this. That's kind of interesting. But there was just this bullish move that ended up breaking the highs. As much as I saw that there was still volume down here, I was like, you know, the dollar, it still hasn't made a higher low, and it could make a higher low right here type of thing, which it so happened to do, which is just interesting with how the rest of the markets, how I played them. But you know, there was these plays that I called in the next wave private chat right over here, where I said that, you know, there was this first trade that I called that I was like, hey, I'm taking this GBP JPY trade, and this ended up hitting my stop loss, and I mentioned I was half risking that trade. And then there was these other two trades that I had mentioned that I was taking. There was a sell on Bitcoin over here at 23,800, and a sell on the Dow Jones at 33,155. That those two ended up playing out very nicely. The stop loss hit on GJ, like I mentioned, which was unfortunate. But then US 30 came and it hit 1-to-1. It bounced off nicely off of the weekly point of control, which is funny because that's actually the entry that I set my trade on. And then same thing with Bitcoin. It ended up going 1-to-1 pretty nicely off of the 1-hour time frame, engulfing the previous 1-hour candle that got me into the trade, which is very nice. And then after that, they both ended up hitting 1-to-2, and I only played 1-to-2 off of the Dow Jones, whereas with Bitcoin, I was saying, you know, hey, I'm looking that this could potentially continue going bearish. But we'll take a look at what that is, and I'll be seeing if I'm getting out of that trade early. So that's something that just, you know, as we did mention before, we were sending out trade ideas and stuff like that. But, you know, it's just been a interesting couple of weeks.
To say the least.
So we've slowed down on that until we can get a really good streak going. that I can definitely, that we're like, we're still giving value to our members in our community, because we still giving them the sauce, we're still giving them what we're looking at in the market, whether if it's a risky play or not. We're gonna tell them, yo, it's a risky play, but it's because that's what's in the that's what's in the premium. So go to tradethenextwave.com, or you can hit us up personally on Telegram, or send us a comment on our YouTube to look more into getting mentorship, one-on-one guidance on your trading and stuff like that, because we can really help you guys trading. So with that being said, let me go ahead and this, like I said, with the dollar, I saw this play right here, and I was like, it's an interesting play. And there's this volume point of control that's chilling right here at 104.25. Price can easily come back and just tap that real quick, which it did, and then go a little bit bullish, which ended up being beneficial for the trades that I was looking at. But overall, with the dollar, I do still see downside to it, real life. Let me go over here on this chart, because this is the actual chart that I'm looking at. This is what I was saying. This is what I was looking at for the dollar to do and this is on the futures. I was saying that I really did want to see it come down and come back and test this untested POC that happened on Wednesday, that has been untested at 104.205, to see if I'm still bullish on the dollar. I feel like it could definitely make a quick ABC move to the downside, and then end up going bullish, at least to make a 1 to 2, something for what we'll be looking for, right? It can even possibly go ahead and go bullish to the extensions, which I actually think it can do, because there's still November there's an untested volume over here that's from November, and then there's yearly point of control up here as well.
Mm-hmm.
So like playing this for an extendo move is something that I'm looking at in my eyes, honestly speaking. It can go a little lower, but there's not even technically, this volume over here has been tapped. So is this. Everything to the left has already been tapped except for 103.990 and 104.205, and this 103.990, if I'm not mistaken, it's on the 4-hour that it's visible. Yeah. That's going to be from last week's point of control. So those are the two levels that I'm really looking at. And the funny part about the 4-hour one is that if you extend this just a little bit, then it's going to be that fib, right? So those are the two plays that I'm still looking for with the dollar. But for this week, for sure, it's this one that I'm more interested in. This point of control at 104.205 to get hit. Because ultimately, like I said, price still has it. Like, this is could be considered the higher low for now, but price could easily just make another low real quick and then go bullish for like a 1 to 2 play, right? Or even extendo move. Like that's really how I'm looking at the markets right now for the dollar.
I got a question.
Yes.
What would you do if the market starts to move up without hitting your fibs right now?
Right now, if the market were to not come up and hit those fibs, this is the other play that I'm seeing.
No. If the market just goes up,
and goes bullish,
your fibs,
without hitting my fibs,
it goes into that area point of control right now.
Like all to the upside over here. Is that what you're mentioning?
No, just kind of up a little bit.
Like just coming up to this untest, like this right here.
Yeah.
If it came up here, this doesn't look terrible for itself, quite honestly. That would actually be perfect for the ABC, in my opinion. Because, let's say that if it stopped right here, didn't come down to the lows that I wanted it to. Let me go ahead and get rid of some of these fibs over here so that it's more clear. I really don't need them right now. But if price were to retrace, because this is exactly what I'm looking for tonight. For it to happen tonight. Or between tonight and tomorrow morning. That's actually what I prefer. Like, I want to get a good, right now, 12 hours of price slowly getting up here. That's actually not, I don't think that's too much to ask for. Maybe even 13 hours, but I would love for price to come up to these fibs right here. I love the point of control where it's at. I'm not even I don't even think I'm gonna be worried too much about the 78.6 fib necessarily, but I'm gonna be more looking at this point of control as where I want to get my entries at. Maybe the 71%. I might start going back to trading it. I'm not too sure because I do remember that I used to have a lot of success trading that. But overall, I do want to have my stop loss, and I'm gonna start putting, I think, my stop losses slightly above that high, just in case, because there have been times that trades would just literally stop right at your equal high and then drop down type stuff, when it comes to getting an entry off of a point of control, not off of just if it's a fib, you know what I'm saying? But there is also this. There's still like a very large likelihood that the 78.6 will get hit because there is still interest up at these highs for this volume. I can't ignore that, right? So that's what I'm looking for tonight, because I don't think that I would play it even if price did drop down right here right now, but I wouldn't be too crazy about it. I'd be like, I'll play half risk on it. But if price were to literally make this bearish move and then come up here to make the B and then drop down to that entry to make that C pattern, that'd be beautiful. You know what I mean? This is predominantly exactly what I'm looking for right now in the market. Because when you go to Euro USD, that's exactly what I'm looking at. I'm exactly looking for that ABC pattern to the downside on Euro USD. I don't want it to just like tumble like how I just had it drawn up over here. I don't want it to just like boom, go straight up there. But that's the move overall that I'm looking for. I would definitely love it if it like flagged out or gave me a cool little ABC pattern. But Euro USD, this is getting played tomorrow.
Facts.
This is getting played tomorrow. I love where the point of control is at. This is where I'm playing the 78.6 because this is too close to the 78.6 for me not to play.
It doesn't matter even.
it really doesn't matter. Like just wherever
close enough, you don't have to.
You don't really. Oh, what the heck? I'm not trying to say bye, but you know what I'm saying. Like that's ultimately the play that I'm looking for on Euro USD, the inverse. And when you go and look at even this is the 1 to 2 right here, and this is very likely. Like I'm not afraid to set the limit, but I'm not gonna set the limit up because I don't want to see price just tumble down here, like I said. Because if it does, I'd be like, okay, whatever I was gonna risk here, I have to like cut it in half a little bit in order for me to play it comfortably,
Facts.
Like rather than if it came down pretty slowly, decently, and then like around. Let me even see what the news is looking like, because I have no idea what the news looks like.
Yeah, me neither, honestly.
Like I was like, wait a minute, what is the news even talking about this week? All right. Economic calendar, my FS book's about to tell me, yo, can you really turn off your ad blocker? This is the only way that we can provide this for free. And I'm gonna say nope. Watch. First of all, let's go to this week. So this is the news. Yep, right there. We noticed that you're using blah blah blah. No, I'm not. I don't understand. First of all, I need to change this so that it can only be high impact, because for me personally, that's all I care about. I don't care about the low impact or anything like that, and I'm pretty sure that P feels the same exact sentiments. He's like, high impact news only. All right, so Euro inflate. Ooh, okay. They got the inflation.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
For the Euro. Well, this is for France though. It's only for France. There's retail sales for the Greece. There's goods trade balance, so that doesn't really matter. I don't care for the Australian dollar. So let's see. It's interesting that it's only for France, that it's only showing that, but that's still something that can affect the market, right? Then we have CPI for the Germans. Retail sales, CHF. Let me just look at this real quick, man. S&P, PMI, yada yada, unemployment rate. There's always a lot of Euro news, and the thing I don't care about the Euro news too much about is that it's always going to be about it's going to be with Germany or Spain or Greece or anything like that, Italy, you know. So it's kind of like weird because it can be there's the inflation rate right here, then CPI over here, the PMI. It's just that's one thing that I don't care about when I'm looking at my FX book, but it's still interesting to look at. But still, there's a whole bunch of Euro news this week. Clearly, we can see that, right? And then, of course, it has everything related to do with CPI overall. When it comes to Germany, Germany has the majority of that news, but there's also Italian news. So just Euro overall, right? PMI with the dollar, that's something you want to watch out for on the 1st as well. I did not mean to do that. And there's continuous Euro news throughout the inflation rate, throughout the whole other. Yeah, there's just a whole bunch of Euro news. But this is still a play that I will look at. You know, I don't really care too much about what the news is going to say. I'm going to be more looking at the pattern and how price is getting here. Now, I am going to be expecting there to be some type of pickup of volume when price is getting here. Oop, I did not mean to go that high. I am going to start to expect some type of pickup of volume as price is getting here, especially if there's going to be news tomorrow morning and the next day. Because what happens if price were to just come up here tomorrow and then come down the next day instead of us playing it tomorrow? Then we're just going to have to be patient and wait for that to happen, right? But overall, this is the play that I'm looking for on the Euro, and I think it's a good play. I don't even think that putting it below this low is that necessary, but it's just to be safer type of thing that I'm really looking into. But at the same time, this is really all you would really need to play. But it's not that much of a difference, you know. This is 40 pips versus this is 44 pips. That's 4 pips. If I need to close the trade early, I have no problem doing that. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm looking at for those two. I do want to take a look at the dollar with RB real quick. Did you want to say anything about EU before we continue?
No.
Because it's not even probably, it's the exact same thing when you go on to the Euro index, right? I already had this marked up. You know, it literally bounced off of, where it at? I think it's on the 1 hour. It literally bounced off of volume that was all the way back here from January 6th that has been untested, and it literally just came and retested that on Friday and has gone bullish from that. That's a very great sign. That's a very great sign for there to be at least some type of turnaround, and it just looks solid to me. So that's just good added confluence to both how the euro and the dollar looks like. Let me go and take a look at what are we talking about in the short term. Actually, I don't want to. Actually, I need the chart. 1 hour time frame. Okay, I actually love seeing this because guess what? It's literally matching up with exactly what we want. If price comes over here into that fib zone, yeah, it's exactly what we're looking for. I love that. The indicators are showing that it's bearish as well. It can continue going bearish right here. I wouldn't want that to happen because that's what we're seeing a magenta candlestick. But overall, yeah, that this couldn't match up any better. So that's getting played. And that's low. It's getting played and getting slayed. Alright, so let's go on to the Dow Jones. So we've gotten this hit over here on the weekly point of control. Price came into here and then did the digital to the downside. Did that 1 to 2 risk to reward move that I was talking about. And remove that alert. Right now, what I'm looking to see is if price is going to continue going bearish on the lower time frames, because that's gonna, I don't necessarily know if that I would have. I don't think I would have played this bullish move. Quite honestly, if I would have seen this, if I was not in the bearish play. But there was this fib that I saw, and I was like, okay, price can't stop here, and it double bottomed here. Oh, it did a 1-to-1, then came back down. But I don't know if I don't necessarily know if I would play that because of how fast it came down. If I'm not mistaken, 8 hours and 30 minutes versus 2 hours and 15 minutes. Absolutely not. Yeah, that's way too short of a time frame for me to try to play that. And especially since I was bearish on it, and it was just picture perfect with the point of control up there. I would really rather playing that rather than trying to play that bullish move. However, there is this little bullish trend that price is like, it's not respecting it. It's broken through it and it's kind of retesting through it now. I want to see if it's gonna hold right here and then continue going bearish. That'd be funny. But that's just something that I'm observing right now. But overall, this play, I'm not against the bears. I'm not against this play right here, but it would kind of go against... Actually, not really. Let me see what the dollar... If we're looking for the dollar to go bearish... if we're looking for the dollar to go bearish, then we're going to be looking for the Dow Jones to go bullish instead of turning around over here. It's hit this weekly PLC, and there is still this higher time frame play that I'm looking at on the Dow, real life. Let me go on to the higher time frames and stop looking over there at the lower time frames real quick. Because there is this point of control that's still to this upside that, again, I'm looking at for the Dow Jones. But with this play right here, I have a feeling that this is more correlated, or this is more of the look that the dollar would have if it's coming down over to this untested volume over here at 101.720 versus it just coming down to over here. Now, granted, if, like, let's say for example, if, let me get rid of all this right here, but I know where I want to take those to. Now, let's say if the dollar is like chilling over here at like in between 103.990 at 104.205, and then the Dow Jones is really up over here, I'll play this out and see where that takes me, type of thing. But that's not until like next week type of status. Maybe, but if price gets up there that fast, I'm not sure if I'd play it, quite honestly, because it took price how many days to get to these lows? I hate when the chart does that. So it took 10 days and 4 hours for price to get down over here. So if price, yeah, I would need price to at least get here like next week for me to really feel good about taking the sells, right? And versus the dollar, it took, I'm pretty sure it took at least 3 weeks to get up here. Yeah, 24 days to get up here. You know, so there's not that much of a confluence right there versus if there's this confluence with it, which is 5 days, which is not so much there, but it's plausible, you know. This is more actually realistic with this bullish move, but we'll talk about that later because there is this volume that has been tested, but it can come down and like say that like, oh well, I want it to come down to these lows and go bullish. It can, but I don't see that happening. So with that being said, Dow Jones, like, I don't know. How do you feel about the bears, P? How do you feel?
Oh, I'm not here for the bears one at all.
Right, like the bears, like after testing this, the only thing that I would be here for is if it just continued pushing to the downside. But would you be looking for this bullish move right here? With this, like this hasn't, it has been retested.
I'll be looking for a breakout.
Breakout. You're looking for that breakout shmoney. Okay, so would you be looking for this? First of all, let's get rid of this. would you be looking for this right here to break first?
Yep.
Okay, so you're looking for this to break, and would you? So you're looking for it to break out and then just come up to the upside. That's what you would rather play at this point. I like that actually a lot.
Just the volume level. You can see that there's
Right
no
there.
volume to the right.
Yep.
So
That's a clean play right there, and you'd want to see what the entry looks like in real time. I like that. I like that a lot actually. That would be the preferred play at this point. Or if price continue going bearish, what would you do? Like, and broke through this low.
nothing.
I feel that. All right, so let's go on over to GJ over here real quick. And this was a riskier play, and it's funny because I didn't risk 0.5% on this. I risked 0.3 on it, and I didn't even mean to, quite honestly. I just accidentally did it. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I like those type of human errors, where it saves you the loss. I like those type of human errors. That's what helps your account. But I like those type of human errors. That's what helps your account. But it's a human error nonetheless. But overall, GBP/JPY, I'm still looking for this bearish move all the way at these highs. Let me actually, what am I doing? So I wanted to come to the 4-hour time frame. There is this volume that it looks like it hasn't been tested, but it did. It's just that price consolidated a little bit before going bullish. So it looks like there's a bit of imbalance, but I'm not really too worried about that. There is this, however, that almost got tapped. It didn't. So that's just something to pay attention to in the future. But overall, I am really waiting for price to come up to 167.621. And let me mark that off yellow because that's my color that I like putting for untested volume. But that is the pricing that I'm really looking for GJ to come into, to then look for another push to the downside on the higher time frame. And that's basically what I'm looking for on GJ. Like, as of right now, if pricing were to come and make a bearish move to go bullish, then sure, I don't actually mind taking this if it were to come down, but I'm more interested in the sells than buys, quite honestly. How do you feel, Pete?
A long ways to wait if you're looking to sell.
The long ways away looking to sell, and it's better to look for buys right here to get up there for the sells than to just for price to continue going bullish, right?
I would have to agree at this point.
I actually do want to switch over the charts to you to look at what you're looking at for the GBs and the JPYs.
Okay, that's fine. Let me
You got
see
it.
what we got here. All right. So on the pound
Wake
here,
up.
on the pound here, we have somewhat of a possibility that it could start to continue to move up. But the weekly candle didn't print very well. Yesterday's candle is very nice though. And it came into this area here, and it's actually starting to come above the yearly point of control, which is very nice. On the 4-hour, you can see this nice bit of volume did come into the market here. It didn't increase as you would really want it to, but nonetheless, it's like the highest 3-candle volume we've seen maybe since this kind of area right here. And it kind of is even more than this. So the last time it gave a push like this, it flagged and then gave another wave. Us, the type of traders we're just trying to predict, are we going to get another wave, or is this going to fail? And so, ultimately, we don't really care if it comes way the mess up here. We're just trying to predict if this currency is going to be stronger today, or is it going to be weaker tomorrow? It's going to be weaker tomorrow. So what I think is about to happen, we have this strong momentum. We'll probably see this come sideways or come down a little bit, and then ultimately give another similar wave to what we saw right here. let me try to break down and see if we have any untested volume here. All right, so this point of control is sitting more like right here. And if it, yeah, so we want the same type of scenario like this. We don't necessarily want it to come all the way down into these fib levels, in my opinion, because if it does kind of break right here, it's going to kind of get here really fast. And then, yes, there is some volume right here, but it's not as much value as this.
It's not
exactly.
Secure, yeah.
So let me bring in a little more price and see what that looks like. Yeah, so this is kind of the last line of defense, really, until it most likely will take these lows out. So I don't really want to see the pound go. I don't really want to see the pound get too weak tomorrow. Let's see how much.
This wouldn't be a good bearish. This wouldn't be a good fib play, but it'd be more of if we see price holding at that point of control, then it's more than likely going bullish, and that's a directional bias type of play that you can look for.
The only reason I would like play this fib per se is if
price really held right there where that previous
if
point
price
of
makes
is.
like a great pattern like into it.
Yeah,
I really, that's the only reason, because there technically was a point of control here that it has been like it's not untested, it's been tested, but there still was
a possibility,
a lot of volume here just because it was tested, and there was a lot of volume here on this day as well. So there's 2 days down in this demand level where there was a good amount of volume. And if I mark it with maybe a different color, where's this line here and this line here, let's bring that over, just that darker area right there is, let me get rid of this line, is a possibility for the price to hold here, definitely. So I'm in favor of GJ continuing up based off of this, and then I would need to see the yen continue to be bearish. And so far, I mean,
this thing's been consolidating all day today.
Definitely sideways today, but the momentum down is definitely there. It's just been coming down for the last, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days or weeks. My bad.
Wait, those are looking like days, my boy.
They're weeks, my dog.
Those are weeks?
Yes, sir.
Oh, they are. Holy crap! Those are. I'm tripping. My bad. I was like, there's no way price dropped that much in just 6 days. That's why I was like looking
this would be the area that I would think that the yen could come up to again, and we're gonna need to take this off to really see it. So right now the market is imbalanced. I think we will see a correction up, but that would almost line up perfectly. So this lines up really well for GJ. If this comes up and then it makes another move down, which it should because it's just downtrending, then the pound does the opposite, that's like a disaster waiting to happen for GJ to the upside, like the best disaster ever for GJ to go to the upside, right? So if the pound gets a little weaker and then stronger, then that's perfect for the pound side of GJ. If the yen is to
get
a little stronger and then weaker, that's perfect for this as well.
So it was like, damn, that's actually really good. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and it would actually warrant a deep pullback, because if the pound gets weak at the same time the yen gets strong, this thing will like really pull back further than people probably want it to, and then it could take off. But let me see this divergence here. I don't like that. There is 3-wave divergence on the 4-hour.
Oh, I don't like that.
But this 4 hour EMA is probably going to be that next area that it pulls back into, and then because I'm not expecting it to reverse just yet. So that's actually looking really good for, I think this is what you had drawn up right here on GJ.
Yep,
I like that.
yeah, it's definitely something to look at. But it's not my favorite play. Like I said, like DJ this week for me, I said that unless that it makes another move, I'm really looking forward to just go and hit my fib more than anything, and that I was gonna play that if it's just like it's a play, and I played it because I'm like I just gotta play what I see, because that's just how I gotta go back to being. So yeah. Okay, go ahead and keep looking at the markets if you want to see anything else, because I've gone through over my pairs except for Bitcoin, and Biddy, we can talk about that together.
Let's see what Bitcoin's doing real quick.
Yeah.
Okay, so it did come into this year's point of control. It reacted off of it very clean. Get some more, and I do want to actually go into the futures real quick just to see if that's the same on the futures. Yes, pretty much. Okay, very interesting. We came into right above it. Did it hit it? Yeah, it really nicked it. This year's point of control.
That was off of that bullish play that we called on Crypto Talk.
Exactly, and
y'all gonna get that short.
Now it's like a little interesting. It does look more downside-ish, but man, the market's kind of coiling up in maybe some type of breakout scenarios coming, in my opinion. I don't know.
Yeah.
With our thoughts on the dollar going down a little bit more, at least before it goes up.
My stop loss is that break even on this bad boy, so it could do whatever it wants to at this point, honestly.
Right. Let's see. Let's go to the 1 hour. This is the move you caught here for this downside. I do think if the dollar pulls up first and then drops, that should bring this down into these areas, and then from here we could see a move up possibly. I'm still interested.
You're looking for that. Okay. So this is what we talked about, I think, on last week when I was like, so how do you feel about the 1 hour buy? And then you're like, this is more like a 4 hour buy.
Right. It is technically because
it is.
How slow it's kind of going and everything. But
it really is.
The one thing I don't love about it is this right here. And we've been experiencing it so much at this point.
Yep.
To where
it's scary.
It's an open weekly. Actually, I have them.
It's hard to ignore. It's way too hard to ignore.
Yeah, and so this price down at 21,655 to be exact, could be a spot either for a limit or a spot that the market comes to get to, and then ultimately there's another one right down here where it could come and get to. And sadly, how Bitcoin works, it very much could, it could give this beautiful, whatever you want to call it, however, rising or falling wedge, flag, ABC, it could do all that, right? It could start to hold, it could do this, and then
go to the 71% even. Yep, exactly. It can even show some love to you at the 71% as if you're gonna win, and then drop. So it's just
and then off to the freaking races. You'll see it make one of these candles, one of these candles, and one of these candles, and it'll do something just like this again, and you'll be like, dang. And then at that point, it'll probably reverse. So I don't care what it does. I think that it's a good opportunity. It looks very similar to this in a way, and I ultimately think we're gonna get something kind of like this right here to end it, and that would be perfect to kind of give us that next move to the upside. And so that's what I'll be looking for. I hope it doesn't get all the way to these weekly corner controls. One way to play it could be put half here, and hope it doesn't, sweep this low to get down to here, because you have to have a stop somewhere.
You gotta have a stop, yeah. That's actually not a bad way. You can stack positions for sure. Stacking might be a play right there.
But I do see it possibly coming to the downside, especially how it made this move right there. It could definitely make that downside move to hit your TP. And Ethereum's like really the same thing, in my opinion. It looks a little stronger. So it's the same jazz, where I kind of want to see it come down in here and then move up. It doesn't have that point of control down low, scary low. So that's actually a lot better. The value area, which is this darker shaded level here, it actually stops right here, which is perfect. So what that's telling me is that if the market does get down into this area where there's almost no more value, the market will say, there's no value here, and come back into all of the area of value. So genuinely speaking, I think Ethereum has a way better look to it, and my focus has just shifted to Ethereum. So if I'm playing buys, I am definitely looking for
Ethereum
Ethereum's position, but I want Bitcoin to have the correlation, obviously.
Yeah.
The most picture freaking perfect play ever, and I'm talking for real, would be for Bitcoin, because like I just said, I'm going to be focusing my long positions on Ethereum. But if Bitcoin does this and kind of gives that look, and then boom, does that wipe out, and at the same time Ethereum gives that look, does the wipe out, but it holds above this low,
you're gonna be so bullish.
That will be the most bullish look ever, because like I said, I do think Ethereum is looking a little stronger. And then let me just see real quick here. We have 10% down to get to these lows, 10.6. Let's see what Bitcoin is. Yeah, so Ethereum is just looking saucy.
On that buy, I wanted to mention this. On that buy, when we bought Bitcoin and it went bullish and it hit our take profit, Bitcoin I think was up 5% only 2.5% up on the day, while Matic was up 5%. I wanted to just mention that.
Matic was up double.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that.
That's normal right now, since those coins have been like outperforming since a minute. But yeah, I know also that the like spot market on another chart, it's like these have already hit some fib levels, like 61.8 has really already hit, and that's kind of what we were playing over the weekend. This is like the weekend chart. So
yeah,
but they're still all very similar, and it kind of makes Ethereum look a little different, but nonetheless I'm still here for Ethereum a little bit more. I just like the price action that it has over here in this area that held.
No, that's live. It's right there. It looks better than Bitcoin.
Then Bitcoin's just like wide open scariness. Not scary, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Did you want to take a look at gold and G? Because I went over my pairs that I looked at.
Let's look at gold real quick, because I'm still waiting on it, honestly. So there's not really a play per se, but it's it's starting to look possible soon. Number one, I still think if it drops into this level, that's a good area to look for buys.
Ooh.
That's a open monthly point of control. So if it gets in there and then how I like to play it, really, I don't even love. I'm starting to like not love limit orders on the higher time frames anymore. First of all, I don't even love the higher time frames. Second of all, once it gets down here, I like to see that lower time frame reaction, because ultimately, if you're right, then you're gonna get that full extension move on that lower time frame.
Facts.
If you're right on the higher time frame, you're just at 1-to-1, or maybe even. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I like to, if I'm right, I like to really be paid for it. This area right here is another interesting open point of control where I think price could get to this week, maybe even. Let's go down to the 1 hour, and this will be kind of the area to target if you are bullish already. But if you aren't bullish yet, this would be the area to target when price comes down into here. So if we get this one more move down, that's going to be the target for that move up. And it's pretty clear as day to see right here that this week, this is the imbalanced area from here down. So as long as we remain below here, we're still very imbalanced from last week. And if price makes another move to the downside and comes into an area of orders, is more or less what you can call it, into an area of volume, we are just extremely, not only did we never come and balance this area out, we have just continued to fall, never balanced out up here. Technically it did with this little junk, but never touched this point of control. Here it was very balanced, and then it's starting to fall out. So if it continues to fall to the downside, I do it every stream. I don't love catching bottoms, but this one looks like if it gets here, I'm gonna look for some type of an impulse and try to catch somewhat of a bottom right there, with very good confluence here. Now, of course, it's been very bearish. That's why I'm not necessarily bullish on it yet. I see a little bit of structure shift here where it could start this move that I'm looking for already, but I don't love how it looked on the lower time frames here. This type of choppy impulse move to me just doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't do it for me. But if I was to look for buys on gold tomorrow, it would be right here, because we are seeing this point of control 2 days in a row now. So price is looking pretty good down at like that 18 area on the futures market. But it's not
glamorous.
It's a good directional bias idea, but I wouldn't put money on it just because it's not impulsive enough. It only broke this little bit of structure here, and the play really was probably more or less right here to catch this move.
This is gonna be good for data.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna see. Oh yeah, the silver is dropping still. So wow,
Silver's
this is telling me we have one more move down on gold.
Yeah, facts.
But very imbalanced week on silver as well. So that's interesting. Let me slide through these forex pairs just really quick. UCAD is ugly. Next, Swiss has a possibility tomorrow for a short. It just didn't break structure, so I'm gonna hold off on it because we do have some pairs that did break structure.
If that was a pair that I traded, then I'll be sure I showed it tomorrow.
This is gonna be one that we look for tomorrow. We got this reaction, more or less. It didn't hold the 78.6. We got this like fake out here and then complete reverse back. So to me, that's one of the moves I look for. It looks very, very similar to what we have right here. I'm not going to cap. So it did produce something here, but then ultimately it failed. We're looking for some production at least. And then it can fail, whatever. But I do think we have an extension opportunity tomorrow.
I think we have an extension opportunity.
The higher time frames lining up with the lower time frame impulse. So that's you don't see that every day at least. So it's a good opportunity. You never know what's going to happen. That's
Facts.
part of trading you got to get used to. You never know what's going to happen. You just have opportunities to look at. So that's an opportunity tomorrow. The pound is, the GBP, Euro GBP. I'm reaching on that, so I'm gonna delete that. And this looks very choppy, so I'm just gonna hide away from this one and not look at this week. It had a beautiful trade the other week, and I didn't take advantage of it, and it has me like coming back to the pair. You know that feeling?
Yeah.
It's set up so perfectly. I didn't take the trade, and now I keep thinking it's going to give me another perfect setup, but it's quite literally ugly right now. I would say that there is a little divergence setup. If you're looking for a trade on EG, right here is an interesting area. We had some volume down in here as well on this day, and it lines up with my divergence fib.
That actually looks really good.
So, if the market does continue to fall and it doesn't really give a retracement, because if it gives a retracement, when you're looking for divergence, you can almost just erase your divergence. So if this falls all night, basically, and tomorrow we wake up and see this right here, it'll probably give somewhat of a correction just because it fell out, dropped, fall out, and if it's falling again without more momentum, that's saying this wave is starting to get tired, and it would be a little bit of a correction buy. It's not the cleanest buy, but there's good confirmation, and it is in a good, definitely in a good area. So it's something I'll look at. I'll put an alert. I don't really want to put a limit order, like I said. There's a lot of downside that could come from this, especially if the pound gets really strong.
Yeah.
This thing could drop. So, but if the euro gets strong, I don't know. We'll have to see what happens with this. It's in a weird spot. EA for all my EA people. If you still trade EA, no, I'm kidding. I see the head and shoulders. It's just ridiculous. Big time. So there's a big old head and shoulders pattern here on EA. I am interested to see what's going to happen. Let's go to the lower time frames, see what we got. The momentum on the recent waves has kind of started to increase a little bit, so I'm not too much of a fan for that. We have this little harmonic. Let's go to the 1 hour. Started to drop a little bit. This is most likely just going to keep going up until it switches trend, and then once it switches the trend, then we might look for the bearish moves, but I'm not going to look to buy it or sell it yet. GU, we talked about the pound. GU has an opportunity just like EU, so pick your poison tomorrow, really. I think GU honestly looks a little better, in my opinion.
Just matches up better.
Being frank, it has a little bit better structure break here on the 15-minute versus the euro is almost like a equal high, and we'll just kind of show that real quick how we kind of equal these highs here. Barely breaks it, I would say. Let me move this out of the way. And you can see it on the profile a little bit better how this daily profile broke this daily profile just by a hair, and then on GU we kind of spanked that high. So just a little bit more of a break, I'd say, on GU.
I agree.
I'm gonna be looking at both, regardless, whichever one retraces more, and whichever currency looks stronger versus the other one, and because the dollar is gonna be the dollar. So this is just pick your poison tomorrow, EU or GU or both, because they look the same. Just GU looks a hair stronger, and a literal hair. Let's go to GA now, and it's very similar to EA, as in it's a little too bullish to be messing with. I do see this 4-hour divergence coming up here. Let's go to the 1 hour and see if there's any divergence. Yes. Okay, so now let's go to the 15-minute and see if there's any divergence. Yes. All right, so this thing should start to correct, even though it's already like at this 15-minute divergence area. With all that divergence, it still should correct. I will say this. At this point, it has 1, 2 with equal highs. And now it's starting to range. So I can kind of spot this possible Wyckoff here. If we get this type of move on GA, which I don't really trade GA very much, but with this type of look and all of the divergences on all the time frames, that doesn't happen very often either. So if this move here happens and then we come back into the range, I'm going to be expecting that to be a fake out, and we should start to move down. If there's not like a kind of clean opportunity there for this type of move, really I like to trade it when it breaks all the way. And then, but usually we've seen it so many times at this point, it kind of more or less does that maybe only 50% of the time, but 90% of the time the directional bias is correct. So regardless of what this does right here, say it doesn't break this low and it gives that type of trade opportunity, the next trade is if it coils up right here.
Yeah.
That's like my second favorite trade these days, because we've spotted the Wyckoff now. We have the good directional bias.
And then the breakout, boom.
The breakout. And the breakouts have been really high probability breakouts when we see the Wyckoff. Yeah, so it would be like a break off with a tight stop. That's the thing about the Wyckoff breakout. And then some just back into balance from the previous day even would give you enough. So that's something I'm looking for on GA, which I never really look at GA. I'm going to put an alert to see if it makes a new high above, but with all that divergence, just step, I'm not afraid to pull a trigger on something like that if it gives me all that confirmation. Okay, AU is not in a good area really yet, I don't think. I mean, there's a lot of
downside
price action right there to the left, but downside is still likely, just kind of like EA and GA. We're saying like the downside or the upside, it still looks like it could keep going up. This looks like it could still keep going down. Let me go into there's a little imbalance up here for sure, but this isn't enough. Here's how I look at things.
For bears more than buys. Honestly.
This is very simple how I look at things. When a market has made a big move down, okay, if there's going to be a move worth buying, the market needs to go sideways at least 2 or 3 days, in my opinion. Or at least needs to give a Wyckoff type of pattern because it's the law of cause and effect from the Wyckoff. In order for there to be a cause, there needs to be, or in order for there needs to be an effect, there needs to be a cause, right? And if there's not a case built, there's usually not a big enough push. So this is gonna need to do something like this for me to even think about this coming up, to feel this imbalance. Until then, it's probably just gonna keep coming down. But once it keeps coming down, it's probably gonna come into some areas of volume to the downside on the left, maybe. Maybe not. I just keep going. Either way, I'm not too interested in AE this week, so we don't have to keep looking at that. Okay, UJ is coming into some volume soon. Looks like it smashed last year's point of control. Let's look at that real quick. Wow, yeah, I said no thank you and took off. So let's go to the 4, back to the 4. There is some divergence here, definitely. And with what we looked at the yen earlier, we want the yen to kind of drop and then go up. Is that what we said? No, we want the yen to go up and then drop.
Yeah.
So that would mean we want this to come like this and just to continue up, essentially. And that would actually match with the dollar as well.
It would match with the dollar.
We want the dollar to do this, then this. So we would need UJ to do this, then this. Okay, well, let's see what happens with UJ. We'll see what happens with UJ. That makes a lot of sense. There is some divergence here on the 4. On the 1 hour, if it does pop through, I mean, I am not a fan of just trying to short it when it has this much of a flag look to it. This looks like it is going to break straight through this volume. I don't think it's just going to stop here. It might do this, and if we get that move, then I will look for shorts. But I feel like this is going to just pop hard because of how bullish it is. There's no reason to think it's just going to turn around just because.
I'd even go as to say that I look for buys for tomorrow or the next day.
Yeah, this is most likely coming up tomorrow. Once it breaks this flag, expect a bullish push for a good 50 pips. This level right here is probably just going to provide more liquidity for the bulls. That's how I'm looking at it. Not every point of control is a resistance or support level. I'll tell you that much right now. We've seen it as well. We've seen point of controls just get ran through because all it is volume, guys. All it is participants. So if you have a bias and then you have an area where this lines up with your bias, that makes it even better because then you'll get a fast move. And I like to just be in the market. I'm either right fast or wrong fast. So this is a good setup for UJ. If this comes down tomorrow, I will expect this to hold, honestly, and move up. There's no reason for it not to.
It's just like with GJ.
It's just like with GJ, but prettier, to be honest.
Facts.
EJ, I don't really trade, but it
looks
has
the same.
This look to it probably. And AJ, you know what? I don't ever look at those, so that's and I really don't even look at EA and GA, but I'm gonna keep them on here for now until they get taken off next week.
That's funny.
But that's it for us. I'm looking for this dollar to really do this tomorrow, though. For sure. That'll be the play.
That'll be the play tomorrow. All right, guys.
That'll be the major play.
Well, if that's the case, I'm going to go ahead and shut it down for everybody. Let's go ahead and see what the market brings us tomorrow. Thanks, y'all, for hopping on. Give us a like, subscribe. Y'all know what it is. And let's make some money.